Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called me unadvised, but the mother has went for a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
McSherman is a demon.
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Hey to Johnny, Tony, James, Adrian, Zoe. It's good to see you guys. Hi, Angie. Sherry's here. We're ready to get started. So we've got Mary Beth, Angela, Sprinkled Donut, Paige Turner. Good to see everybody. So Johnny's serving up some tea in chat. So that means we can officially start. So everyone relax. We are going to dive into, hey, the purple one, dive into the discovery files, specifically a page referring to the CBI Unit Forensic Services Division. And it has a laboratory report that we'll be reading through pertaining to the footprint found at Survey. So then we will go to a video of Chris Watts getting his footprints taken while he was in the county jail. This visit came to him by, we see Detective Baumhover in the footage and CBI forensics team. His lawyers were very upset about this visit, actually. They knew nothing about it. And just like everything else in the Watts case, Chris just complied to everything asked of him. So he never thought, let me call my lawyer and make sure this is okay. It was just kind of a strange situation that we hear about through the filings and stuff like that, because they definitely did not want the fingerprints and footprints used against him. They had no idea that they were even going to the jail. So very interesting. Let's get into it. Should we start with the video? There's no sound because it's a CCTV footage of inside the county jail. Should we start with the video of Chris getting the footprints done, or should we start with the page in the discovery kind of explaining what was found? I feel like let's just go to the page because that's sort of the information we need. Okay, so like I said, this is the Colorado Bureau of Investigation Forensic Services Division. And also we are going to go through a few things that need to be kind of debunked. I've seen a lot of comments in my comment section regarding certain subjects about Survey 319. So I just want to kind of walk through a little bit of debunking and also question some things that are on another page in the discovery too. So that'll be after the footprint discussion. So it says lab case, and then it gives the case number in the letter, reporting section, latent prints, date of submission. So into October, I say October because the date in the video of the CCTV footage we're going to look at is October 4th. And on this page, you can clearly see that it's sourced the 1st as well. So throughout August, October, and interesting that it has date of offense, right? August 14th. But the crimes took place, according to the district attorney. Hey, Florida Bass Fishing and Melanie, Cement Shoes, everyone else who's joined, hit that like button also if you haven't done so. That's greatly appreciated. So the crime happened on Monday, the 13th. So I just find it very interesting that CBI Forensic Services, for some reason it says date of offense talking about the prints being on the 14th. I never really noticed that before. Now, is that something that they just, oh, that's the day they found it, that's the day they mistyped it, or offense doesn't necessarily mean the crime took place then? I mean, that's how I would take it. Like, date of offense, I would be saying, if we are to believe the district attorney's narrative, he said everything was out there by Chris and Chris alone, done and over with by August 13th in the morning. So I don't know. You guys share your thoughts on that. Hey, Margie, good to see you. Because I just think, you would think that everything would be, because everything else is accurate, date of birth, the names. I don't know. Very interesting. Okay, so obviously, excuse me. These are, sorry I didn't mute for that. CBI's list of the items. They got the number, agency item number next to it, description of evidence. Item 6, blue nitrile glove. Item 7, black plastic bag. Item 8 is another black plastic bag. So these plastic bags, people assume, were the ones that Chris says in the prison interview that he put over Shanann's head and feet. That's an assumption. What these plastic bags were really used for, Chris lies so much. So I would hate to just put 100% that these were used like he said they were. Maybe they were, because there's 2 of them. We just never got like any forensics pulled from them, like, her saliva or a piece of Shanann's hair, anything like that would kind of prove 100% without a doubt that they were the ones on her head and feet. They very well could have been, but we just don't know 100%. So item 10 is the rake head, 11, rake handle. And then the next one, 13. Now, another thing, 6, 7, 8, where's item 9? Not on here. Now, all of a sudden, we get from 10, 11, where's item 12? Just interesting how some things are kind of missing. I don't know, maybe, no, I don't see him down there. I don't know. Okay, so item 35, fingerprints from Shanann Watts. What were those on? Item 35, because it doesn't state like where her fingerprints were found. You guys see that? I'm looking to see if it says it anywhere down here. Item 6 and item 35 will be analyzed at a future date. What are those items? And since we know that everything's ended in November when he signed the plea deal, footprints. Yes, Florida. Black plastic bags that had footprints, actually, that didn't match Chris or Shanann. Wonder if they got NK's footprints. It was actually, yeah, that's the thing, is we'll get to it. But further down, it describes it, I believe. Hold on. It says that they were footprints. Hold on. We'll get there, guys. And it also says, oh, we'll test this at a further date. Well, since he signed the plea deal in November, those never got tested. Okay, hold on. We will read it as we scroll down. But yeah, interesting what her fingerprints were found on, and what they needed, what that item was that they needed to test further. Roll of black trash bags from work truck is item 38. trace pocket, debris from item 7, plastic bag, debris from item 7, paper evidence bag, debris from item 8, plastic bag, debris from item 8, paper evidence bag, hair collected from inside of item 8. So item 8, okay, so there was a hair found in that bag. So it also leads you to question, why did he take the bags off of her before she went into the grave? Because they were on her feet and on her head, he claimed. Can you guys explain or theorize that? Results and opinions and interpretations. 8, latent, 701 through 708. So I'm assuming the plastic bags. Suitable for comparison were observed or developed on item 7. So 8 latent prints, maybe they are handprints. No latent prints suitable for comparison were observed or developed on items 8, 10, 13, or 38. So whatever was ended up being found on 38 that we were wondering, which is the trash bags, nothing that they could pull. 13, partial rake handle, nothing that they could pull. 10, the rake head had nothing. And then another plastic bag had nothing, according to this, that were suitable for comparison. So it might have had partial, might have been not enough. Item 11 was not suitable for latent prints analysis. So the rake handle, item 7, 1, 7, 2, 8, 1, 8, 2, and 8, 3 were removed from items 7 and 8 retained in packet TRA1. Packet TRA1 was not suitable for latent prints analysis and will be forwarded for analysis in other disciplines. Items 6 and 35 will be analyzed at a future date. So a blue nitrile glove and fingerprints from Shanann Watts that we don't know where this fingerprint was or on will be analyzed at a future date. And unfortunately, this leaves us to say we never find out what those items came with as far as prints, what came of them at all, because the investigation ended as soon as he signed the plea deal. Okay, so latent 701 through 708 were entered into the state database, and candidate list was generated for each. So they have, like we see on forensics and those, CSI TV shows, they punch in or scan a fingerprint, and all these fingerprints go through, and then they find a match. Based on these lists, no identifications were made. So this is only the state database. So it would be Colorado State. The latents were retained and will continue to be searched against new records entered in the database. So as the CBI's, holding on to this information, and as new people are being processed, they're going to scan these fingerprints back through the system too. If an identification is made in the future, the submitting agency will be notified. Again, speaking of future, possibilities and further investigating, that abruptly got ended because of the plea deal. So even though it says if an identification is made in the future, submitting agency will be notified, on a closed case, they're not checking that. They have their CBI, they have a lot of things to go through. So this cold case and these fingerprints, we will never know what will come of them. Latent 701 through 708 were suitably for entry into the federal database, but were not entered into at this time due to the unknown anatomical origin of the friction ridge impressions. So it's basically saying we tried to put some of these items through, but they weren't, good enough. Stuff was kind of smudged, maybe. Ridges, impressions weren't as great. So it just says they were suitable for the federal database, but then they never entered it. And now here's the thing. CBI is claiming, well, the federal database for fingerprints would have taken them, but they weren't entered at this time because, anatomical origin was unknown and the friction ridge impressions. It's just BS, in my opinion. I think that it was just something that they came up with to kind of excuse why they don't want another person. At this point, Chris has been sitting in prison for over a month and a half. Sorry, jail. That's their guy. District attorney has already come out telling the public that he was alone in this and that everything happened in the house and that he carried them out like trash. And then he takes all that back once we find out that he brought the children alive to Serby. But at that point, the case was closed because he had signed the plea deal. So I just think, say what you want. Why there shouldn't be an excuse why these weren't submitted to federal database. Says right here, were suitable for entry, but not entered at this time. And then it gives this excuse. I won't read it again. It's right here under my mouse. Sorry, I haven't been checking chat, guys. I hope I'm just making sense as I kind of walk through this. Yeah, it's so discouraging to not know most of the information, right? And for it to just blatantly drop off. Like, yeah, we have these prints. Oh, but we don't know whose they belong to. And that's what I question why people are so adamant that he was alone. It's like, don't you want to know whose fingerprints and stuff these were? He very well could have been out there, but who's to say? Others weren't. In fact, we know his coworker was there on the 14th, the day after the district attorney is alleging Chris was out there doing everything. And that coworker lied to law enforcement, to another employee that worked for a water truck company. You guys would have to check out that live stream. It's totally separate. I mean, this crime scene had been contaminated. Let's face it. Okay. Clear and complete major case prints to include palm prints, fingerprints, and a barefoot impression of Chris Lee Watts and Shanann C. Watts. See, that's the other thing that people kind of bypass at times. They're looking, which we have the video footage that we will play, of them taking a impression of Chris's barefoot, not a shoe, barefoot. They also wanted to do one of Shanann. If Shanann was wrapped up in that sheet with the bags on her head and feet, I'm confused why they would have needed to do a barefoot impression for her. And then it says, as well as any other party of interest are required for comparisons to be completed. So who are the other parties of interest that they want palm prints, fingerprints, and barefoot impressions from? Please explain. Okay, this next stuff is the digital evidence. Let's go to the video. And thank you guys for being here. I don't know, this just troubles me. It really does. To have something so incomplete. So like I said, there is no sound. This was October 4th, 2018. So at this point, you can see Detective Baumhover, CBI agents. At this point, I mean, they're trying to figure out whose prints and footprints are out at the scene, which tells me that the investigation wasn't going in just the direction that he was alone. You know, they're trying to eliminate everyone else with things that they found there. And they're probably hoping that it matches Chris. Otherwise, they're in for a lot of, you know, backpedaling, especially in the media, because they've already reported that he was alone in the house and it all happened in the house. He carried them in the truck by himself. So let me just play this. let me make sure this isn't on low speed. Yes. They already did his fingerprints. We'll cover fingerprints on another live. So they're kind of finishing up his fingerprint process. So yeah, I mean, fingerprints found on the black plastic bag or footprints found out there, whatever was found out there, we cannot say 100% was Chris. Sprinkle Donut says, I honestly don't think he put the plastic bags on her head and feet. It's just, like I said, you can't say 100% on anything without these things really 100% processed. He's washing his hands now. You could say like, well, he said it, but he's also a liar. That's the other issue. Yeah, I agree. I do think that children left in the truck because I see him pick up one. And I see somebody that looks like NK holding another one. Life artist, no problem. Thank you for covering this. It's always bothered me that they didn't pursue the possibility of her involvement further. Right. Baumhover said there was a roll of garbage bags in the truck. Yep. Coming from a manufacturer, only prints should have been Watts. Exactly. And yet, through that little sheet that I was reading off of, it says though that item specifically didn't contain a well enough print, which is unfortunate. Or is it just CBI? What if it was someone else's print and they're just writing that in the report? Like, I'm sorry, but I have to question everything in this case. Actually, let me give you guys the page number in the discovery to this page. So yeah, Florida, I guess it was either a footprint or a handprint on those black plastic bags that have not been really ironed out. So 7-page discovery, page 1761 is where you can find that lab report. If you guys want to look at that yourself. Surely Anadarko had to know if anyone else in that truck that with that weight and everything. I haven't been able to kind of wrap my head around it, but from what other people have kind of looked at is now this lady's going to get down there and start setting up for his footprint. Notice they're only looking for a right foot. But yeah, people have said that his truck didn't show any other weight in the vehicle. I don't know if that means no kids in the back seat or not, because they would have only have weighed like 35, 38 pounds. But I'm not sure. Not 100% sure on the vehicle information. Thank you, Roxanne. Good to see you. Hope football's going good. Yeah, Discovery is such an ironic name for the document in this case. I know it. So she's putting like some ink type thing on his foot. Dusting it. That's Baumhover right behind Chris in the blue dress shirt. And everyone else here is either jail security or CBI. Prosecution team, I think, is that girl standing next to him. And this is October 4th. So he's taken into custody on August 15th. And he's just been sitting in solitary confinement. They come in and they said, oh, okay, drive safe, Roxanne. I, have no issues with Baumhover. I think that from what I can tell in the discovery files, like he was doing a lot of like running around and looking into things. But with CBI and FBI and the district attorney kind of above him, I wonder if a lot of the things that he wanted and direction he wanted in this case didn't happen because, he's kind of like bottom of the totem pole. And everything else had kind of already been ran with. Yeah, what a donut Chris Watts is. An absolute moron, bloody idiot. He obviously didn't know what side of his beard was buttered. Yeah, and he continues to be an idiot. Oh, yes, just because they wrote it doesn't mean it's true. They blew the case big time. Total fail. Right. Tammy coming out like, we weren't done doing our investigation. I bet you CBI is only here doing this stuff because Baumhover was like, okay, we need to figure out whose prints and footprints are. Cement shoes, anything is possible. Especially when it comes to her because she had the least pressure. She had the least amount of investigation kind of done on her and the least amount of pressure on her by law enforcement. So her involvement could be just knowing things after the fact or the worst of the worst part of the crimes. Like, I just don't know where to place her, but I know wherever she falls, in my opinion, it's criminal. And I think she was given some sort of immunity deal or something. And then the plea deal was signed and she was off the hook. The whole case is a study in confirmation bias. Yep. And lazy investigators using junk science, cold read, mind reading crap on Watts. Everybody in law enforcement who is actually smart knows they are junk science. I mean, that polygraph, here they go. They're going to take it off. They only want his right foot. The polygraph isn't even admissible into court. And everyone who knows about this case will say he lied on his polygraph. And it's like, well, technically we never even got to see the full polygraph, like results and stuff. And, polygraphs are just a tool, just like the dogs and all that used in the case. Why is he like looking at his foot afterwards? Oh, they are going to do the left one. So he has had, Heather, the opportunity to, he's not allowed to appeal. Like, that's part of his plea deal. But he was allowed to do something called a 35C, which is like an appeal in his case, like when you pretty much have agreed no chance to appeal or whatever. Although I don't even know if that's true that he's not allowed to appeal, because you would think everybody would be allowed to. But anyways, he's been given chances and opportunities. Private investigators have met with him. Lawyers have met with him. They've reached out to his family, and he never takes any help. One of the last things he was kind of toying around with another YouTuber was he was going to do that 35C appeal, but they told him that if he decides to do that, then he could be transferred back to Colorado, and he didn't want to do that because he's comfortable where he is. But again, oh no, I'm sorry. Not that he would be transferred back, that death penalty would be back on the table if he tried to appeal. And I think that that's BS. I don't know if he lied just because he's still covering up things, lied to the YouTuber trying to help him just so that she would back off when things got too close to, actually appealing it. But, he said that he was told if he tried to do that, that death penalty would be back on the table. And they, got rid of it in Colorado. So I don't know. I don't know. He's such a liar and manipulator that he's even doing it to everyone in prison, talking to him. Yeah, NK had a hell of a hold on Chris, obviously. Yep. It can be admissible by state, or depending on the judge, it can be used as a tool. Oh, okay, the poly. Yeah, and they're allowed to lie about the results. And according to Chris, after being in prison, and Ronnie, his father, said Chris took the polygraph, Tammy walked out of the room, heard her say, now again, this is all hearsay, heard her say he did pretty well, but I think I can get more out of him. So they're doing, is this another left one, or did I miss it the first time because I was rambling? Anyways, he claims that he heard Tammy say he did pretty well, but I know I can get more out of him. And then she goes in the room and she tells Chris, you failed. And all of a sudden it spiraled from there. Again, that's the hearsay. We will never know because he's such a liar. Yeah, that sucks. I think I saw that creator too. Too bad. It looked like that girl spent hundreds of hours combing through data. Oh, 100%. To be manipulated by Chris. I think Chris is lying to protect someone, and it may be his parents, because one night someone knocked on his parents' door and Chris got silent, or he's protecting NK. I could see there be many reasons why Chris isn't telling the truth. Some of them I don't really want to speculate on, but I just feel like there's more to it. Definitely protecting his family, and NK might have something to do with it, maybe even coworkers. In my opinion, he is ready to spill the tea. Really? I feel like if and when he does, it'll be after his parents pass. But I don't know. Chris was a typical pudgy guy. His psychology was set in place when he was in an unattractive pudge case. Getting fit did not change his sense of inferiority. NK played this, is my guess. When he was in high school and college, he wasn't fat at all. He was actually fit. But Shanann loved him when he was fat. And he didn't deserve it. So now he's going to wash his feet. We don't see him. But that is the end of him kind of getting the footprints too. So now everyone's like, okay, let's pack up. We'll go through the fingerprint part footage maybe next week. All right, hold on. Let me switch up on my screen. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to show you guys. Back to the discovery. I start scrolling back. Hold on. Okay, so this page we didn't read. This has something to do with the prints as well. It's a supplemental report by Detective Baumhover. This is dated the 12th of October. So this is after they just took those impressions we just watched on camera. On 10/11, I received a copy of CBI laboratory reports from reporting sections, latent prints, and digital evidence analysis. We just went through the latent prints one. The latent prints report dated 10/1/18 indicates 8 latent prints suitable for comparison were observed, and major case prints are required for comparison testing. Should be noted, the major case prints were collected and submitted to the lab prior to receiving this report. The digital evidence analysis report dated 10/3 outlined the results of the forensics examinations of the 4 cell phones previously submitted to the lab for processing. I provided a scanned copy of the reports for placement into the digital files, case file, and a hard copy for physical case file. Nothing further. So that's just his input on everything that he's getting back from CBI. And now he is claiming that those 8 latent prints were suitable for comparison. And we never got any comparisons. So this also talks about some other files that were submitted. Nicole Atkinson's interview room, prep. See, this says ultrasound. Now, is this a baby ultrasound, you think? We never get to see that either. Chris Watts' truck. Security footage from 6432. So in these reports, we have seen a video, like a ring camera of Chris's work truck flying by on the way home, like on Monday, like when cops are waiting there, Nicole Atkinson are waiting there. And there's like a wasp like on the ring camera. I don't know if that's what this footage is. I could find that out with a lot of digging, but it's not going to happen tonight. So I'm just going to leave this as a question. Is this the footage that shows him driving by? And it has like a bee or a wasp on the ring camera. 6432. James Walmart video. So at one point in the interrogation, Baumhover with Coder, this is before the polygraph, Baumhover comes in and says, we got people at Walmart. I think it was Walmart. It was a store. And they look like it could be Shanann maybe and the girls. And he looks and he says, no, the hair's too short or too long or something like that. I don't know if that's what this is. So another little thing, like maybe people could find out, or it's just a mystery. There's other things in here too. Levi Husk video footage. All these other things, like what exactly, because we don't have much footage in this case. Okay, so we know that this is the interview. Watts transport. Yes, we've seen all those. So here's the other, thing that I need to kind of debunk and kind of question, I guess. So It says Conoco, which I'm assuming is a gas station, North Register footage, and South Register footage. So South and North Register footage. It seems like there's more than one video, right? Here's a traffic, 911 radio traffic. Anyways, this stuff, the footage at the gas station. Now the footage that I have from the gas station is the night of his date with NK. And the issue that I have is it only shows one register. So while it says on that page that there's a North and South register, I'm just like, are they referring to this footage in this gas station? Or is this a whole other thing that we just have never seen before? So just something else that I found in there. Now he is going to break a 20 up at the register. He just got it out of the ATM. You would think there'd be a camera at the ATM. So is that one of the footages from the register that we don't have? Like, is that being considered a register? Allegedly, this was for the babysitter. I don't know if that's even true. The thing is, people have said, no, there's another footage of him and he's got an orange shirt on. No. Now, this is an example of the news articles saying that it's him. It says surveillance shows a service station shows a man who is calm and seems at odds with the atrocious crime he just committed. That's not Chris. The stature's wrong. The body type is wrong. The face is wrong. The hat, everything. That's not Chris. So, in case anyone's going to try and say, like, no, this is the other register video. Look at, he's shorter. You can tell, too. Like, that's not Chris. I don't know who gave this footage to the media and tried to say that this was Chris Watts. But, I mean, the Daily Mail, so many articles were made saying that this was Chris buying breakfast after he killed them. And it's just not. So going back, yeah, definitely not him. I don't think it was him. Yeah, no Thrive Patch. All I know, Sherry, is they're divorcing and trying to sell it. That's all I know. And that there was a DV situation and that they hadn't been paying their mortgage for months and it was in pre-foreclosure. Yeah, that just wasn't him. So why did that fake news make it out there? You know what I mean? To this day, I still don't understand how the Lazy Dog restaurant surveillance footage was never viewed or released. I can bet $10,000 there's a third person with NK and Chris there planning night. Yeah, and that's the thing is like that on top of, so they couldn't get the footage for whatever reason they came up with. They also like couldn't get the credit card information and like receipt or whatever. We read through that in another live stream. We would have to go back and kind of do the Lazy Dog stuff over again, or you guys could find it on the playlist. But yeah, there was like many excuses that the Lazy Dog gave why they couldn't like help further in the investigation. That supplemental report is also handled by a CBI agent. So that on top of what we just read about the fingerprints, like not that were suitable for the federal database, what wouldn't be submitted. Those were both part of the CBI reports. I'm telling you guys, especially with the John Bonet case and fumbling with Barry Morphew, like I don't trust CBI. I'm sorry. Like I usually don't like to come out saying I don't trust law enforcement, But there is just something very strange about this whole investigation, and a lot of it has to do with their handlement on the case. So Detective Baumhover is not CBI. So, oh, thank you, Justice. You are so thorough. I just try to piece everything together and kind of lay it out with you guys, like, so you understand why I'm coming to the theories and conclusions that I am. Because obviously, I can't say 100%. Like right now, I can't say 100% that CBI has like tried to cover things up. But I think that there's something very weird about like certain things in this case. And it's all been CBI's pages. Okay, so back to this whole question. Where is this other register footage? Because that is the only footage of a register that we have at a gas station. Just another question. Maybe there is one out there and I just don't have it. Just looking through some stuff before I exit out and move on to the next topic. Okay, so this is about like victim compensation program, how they got like the funeral and all that paid for. Okay. What's next? We went through the footage. I'll show you just the overview of, we've seen this before. Survey, West Tank, East Tank. The grave was right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but you can kind of see everything. Plastic bag. Plastic bags very far apart. Obviously easy to blow in the wind though. Bed sheet extremely far away. People have said, I think the bed sheet blew in the wind. No, I just don't think so. I don't think the sheet made it all the way out there from blowing in the wind. And the reason why people say that is because like myself and others, I question the timeline and I'm like, how is he running all over the place that morning? Coworkers say he didn't look out of breath or sweaty or nothing was out of sorts with him. I don't know. Sorry, drinking some water, guys. Yeah, Lazy Dog might have been paid off by NK's dad, right? I mean, I'm not putting anything out of the realm of possibility. Something is weird about it. Yeah, so the family that lives there now, the Millers, the husband caught his wife on footage. Yeah, at home they were at a Super Bowl party. Her coworker and friend was there. They were kissing on the lips, drinking wine, and he ended up calling the cops, or she did, because I heard she called the cops because he slapped a wine glass out of her hand. I don't know. That whole thing is just another unfortunate event that took place in that house. He sure was sweating when he got home. Yep. Oh, thank you. The Flatirons is a pregnancy ultrasound place. Okay, so there is footage of an ultrasound in this case that we were suspecting that we just don't have. Thank you, Honey Bear, for Googling that very quick. I can't think off the top of my head of Chris' work colleague's name. I think, in my opinion, there's something more to him that meets the eye. Apparently, this fellow was at 319 for no reason to be there. Yes, have a whole live stream about that, as multiple, actually. Hey, Looking Beyond. His name is Troy McCoy. Yeah, too many excuses. Very weird. Leave threesome Jim alone. Right. So yes, let's go to, I just wanted to give you guys an overview of all this. So again, either footprints or fingerprints were found on those black plastic bags. A footprint was found somewhere. And then latent prints, 8 of them, were supposed to be submitted to federal stuff in the near future. Never happened. The federal database. To me, that's concerning. It truly is. Very incomplete investigation for such a heinous crime. Don't understand it. All right. The next big topic is the suspicious Venmo transaction. So when this case first happened, and for anyone that knows Venmo, you can have your transactions private or you can have them public. And during the time of the crime and very shortly after, while web sleuths like myself were gathering these screenshots and looking into things, Nicole had hers public. So she, don't mind the circled part. That's just for another topic. The part above the circled part is what I'm referring to in my title, which I find very suspicious, or, maybe not suspicious to some, but to me, questionable at the very least. So the crime happens on the 13th. By the 18th, she needs more shoes or a new pair of shoes. Her mother pays for them. And also on the lazy dog night, the mother's giving her money as well. So interesting, the dates here. Lazy dog night gets money from her mom. And then week of, the murders, there's new shoes being bought. So the reason why I think this is suspicious is just because I've seen so many Forensic Files episodes and true crime in general where the footprints really end up being the damning piece of evidence for some people. I mean, there's a whole Forensic Files episode of somebody who climbed through a window, and when they left, they stepped on a tomato and made a foot imprint. And then they end up, comparing that foot imprint to a suspect that in the tomato to a suspect that they had, and it was a match. So when I know it's such a good show, especially to fall asleep to. Florida Baz, you have to wait till tomorrow. Yes, she did say her friend Danielle was over at her house over the weekend of the lazy dog. She hosted her friend Daniel, and then we find out it's Danielle. You remember the tomato episode? And plus, guys, I mean, there's other, I think, unsolved mystery episodes. I mean, the list goes on where they'll take a pair of shoes and they'll test the bottom of the shoe for debris and then come to find out, oh, yes, and this debris was a direct match to the debris at the dump site. And this is a specific type of dump site because it only has this type of soil there. So it's always something that ties in to a very, wow, you were there at the crime scene or at the dump site. And we found out because of your shoes. So I just feel like her getting new shoes the 18th, a couple days later after, everything goes down, it's just to me kind of leaves me to wonder, why was she in need of new shoes that week? Did she have to throw a pair of shoes out? Why would she have to throw a pair of shoes out? Why? I don't know. To me, it's just very weird with all this other stuff going on in her life. I mean, she's meeting with CBI agents. She's meeting with FBI. She's meeting with district attorneys. She's the mistress in a very high profile, horrendous crime. And she's concerned about getting new shoes. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let's see what else I put together in this little clip section. Okay, so this is kind of going to start a little bit of debunking topic. I don't know where the conversations are coming from, but they're in my comment section a lot. And they state something along the lines that Survey 319 was demolished in 2018 or was set to be demolished in 2018. So I could not find anything in the discovery, anything in the coworkers' interviews or the managers from Anadarko's interviews. Nothing says that they were going to demolish Survey 319. Let me just... The only thing I found was this article. I've never heard of this news source, but they're talking about, this was in 2023. They're talking about Survey. And then here it says the well site Survey 319 near Frederick, Colorado was reportedly, and it says, quote, scheduled to be demolished before Watts left his remains there back in 2018. So this quote, like, I don't know who's saying it. I don't know where this person's getting this information from. But no, like, I don't, there's nothing that we have that says that they were set to demolish it. The other thing that I end up finding out with trying to track down that information is on Reddit and Facebook groups, private ones that have been around since the beginning of this case, talk about this. So, of course, this drone footage has been removed. So there's no video when you click on this link. It just says removed. Here is eerie drone footage of the September 2020 of the Survey 319 well site. As you can see, the entire site has been razed to the ground. So that site, and I remember this because I was covering it over on CDT's channel during quarantine time, was demolished in 2020. September 2020 is a month after Anadarko sold the company to that, what's it called? Oxy something petroleum. Occidental or whatever. Oxy acquisition and Anadarko complete. I'm reading an article from my phone. Their transaction, Occidental is the name. Petroleum, and they call it Oxy. And that completion was August 8th, 2019. So I'm sorry, not a month earlier. A year before it was demolished, it was sold to Oxy in 2019. And then it says, of course, this is Reddit 4 years ago. Take it for what you will, but I have found that web sleuths on Reddit like do a lot of research and I can trust them. And then I also have another source that I trust too. Yes, the installation has been removed. Last production information is December 2019. And the well records show it as plugged and abandoned. It was 21 years old and low producing well before the Watts tragedy. Glad to see it's gone. Thanks for the drone footage. So it wasn't taken down or set to be taken down in 2018. Just want to hold on. And then I also I go to this Facebook group that's been going on since well before a lot of this other stuff has been out there, kind of making information. And I don't think people are doing it on purpose. And I can't show this on the screen because it's a private group and it has the person's name and I don't want to like dox them. But hold on, let me show you. I'm going to go on camera. Did not really plan on it, but the post says why, and this is October 6th, 2020. So right around a month after that Reddit site said that it was taken down. says, why was Survey 319 taken out completely? Was it to keep looky-loos away or something else? Just curious. And somebody said, it was being decommissioned already when Anadarko was bought out. It was taken down. It was really old and remote. And we do know that they said in their interviews, the coworkers, I'll show you on, don't want to show her name or like other names, but here's the thread. Just so you know, I'm showing a different source than just that Reddit one. This post was October 6, 2020. But yeah, the coworkers said that nobody really went out there a lot. They were very far out. It wasn't maintained well. And if they had plans, in my opinion, let me just pull this back up on screen. If they had plans, in my opinion, to demolish it in 2018, Chris wouldn't have been told to go out there and fix the well. So they kept it going for like another year in a couple months, because it says it last started pulling oil. The last thing that was in their records was 2019 December. And then it just ran dry and they demolished it in September 2020. So it says, another comment, Anadarko is now Occidental Petroleum as well. I believe they were bought out. And then she says, do you think it's because of what Chris did there? And they said, no, nothing to do with the murders. It had simply reached the end of its production. The last production date was December 2019. After a site is plugged, they then demolish and return the land to how it was. So it's just basically saying like it pulled all the oil it could. They got rid of it. But I don't know. I've just seen some comments in my comment section saying that it was scheduled to be demolished in 2018, and there's just no record of that. So the only records that we have is it's saying they ran it until it was dry in 2019, and then they took it down after it was sold. So unless you guys can find me the source stating that it was set to be demolished without just showing me that article I showed you guys that had the quotes without explaining who was saying it, because that's the thing is like those quotes were on Reddit as well. And that article that I showed you guys, it was in 2023. So I don't know if that journalist is just, now I got to pull that up. I don't know if this journalist is just quoting from Reddit as well. But who said it was scheduled to be demolished before Watts put his family there? So it says it here in quotes, like who said this? Or is this just being repeated through the rumor mill? Nothing cited. And like I said, nothing in any of the interviews say that that survey site was going to be demolished. It just, they've said over and over that it was old, that it needed maintenance, etc., which is why they were out there. So here is another kind of different view of the survey site that I find interesting. This is 319 before it was demolished, right after the crimes. You can see that the type of gravel and soil out there, you know, you would be able to find and see footprints very well. I think I can also see some animal prints that were out there. So, you know, a lot of good places to kind of gather a bare footprint or shoe prints. And I just keep going back to like why, you know, in this type of soil, you would think would be distinct under a microscope to kind of compare if, you know, they took in shoes for samples and stuff like that to find out who was out there. Yeah, it is super dry looking. And then, of course, this is the overview of drone footage. Yeah, I have the room dark for a reason, Marco. Didn't really want to be on camera, but I want to show you guys my sources when I'm talking about things. but I also couldn't show it on the screen because it's a private group. So yes, it was demolished in 2020, not 2018. The other thing, and I'll pause it right now to kind of talk about this. The other thing I've been seeing is stuff talking about cameras were out at Survey 319. I don't know where these comments are coming from. I mean, you can look up Anadarko Petroleum, Colorado, and lawsuits against them and just all these articles about safety stuff, and you'll find this information. I'm just not about to do all this legwork. I can point you guys in the direction though, but there's multiple articles stating that they were supposed to, especially after accidents were happening at these tanks and the house explosion in 2017, they were supposed to put CCTV footage at their well sites. They did not. That cost money. From my understanding, Anadarko was cutting corners so much to, pocket money, the top people, etc. You guys know how it works. So they did not have video footage, not to mention when I pull up that drone footage, you're not going to see a camera out there. So I don't know why people are saying there was camera footage. That definitely would have been mentioned in the 2,000-page discovery. There is no cameras out there. The reason why I'm pulling this up is to kind of show you that, we knew before rumors started getting all over the place in this case, we knew that there was no camera footage out there. No video surveillance at 319. Anyone know why there wasn't, or if there were any cameras out there? Probably because in a case of their employees to do anything that caused an explosion, they don't want to be proof that their employees did it. Interesting. The land is privately owned. The installation of Anadarko tanks on site, that aspect alone would require owner permission and cost. I think it's the cost that's the issue. And the site has since been dismantled and returned to private property. That was 4 years ago. I would have been surprised if these extremely remote oil tank sites had video surveillance. They would have to have them installed, some kind of electricity source to power the cameras. There were many, many of these sites scattered all over. It just seems like video surveillance would have been a very expensive to install and maintain, and surely they did not expect their employees to use the sites as dumping grounds for bodies. And mind you guys, these sites, it's not just the Watts case where they found dead bodies at these sites. So what would they be surveilling for? And somebody says possible terrorism, fire, vandalizing, and murder, right? They don't want to catch all that on camera, but it does take place out there, and it has. You guys can look them up. They're still finding bodies out in the middle of nowhere where these oil tanks are. So yes, I'm telling you guys, and like I said, this is just this conversation on the case. You can look up all these Anadarko Petroleum articles, and you will see that they were told to have cameras. And plus, do you guys see any cameras? I mean, they do a whole 360 view of this place. And further out, like there's no power grids, or what are they called? Generators or anything like that were powering cameras. So just a few things I needed to debunk, just because I just want there to be factual stuff being put out there. So we have no proof that anything was set to be demolished before the Watts family went out there. And there were no cameras out there. So just looking at the sheet. Cindy says, I used to work at a chemical plant in Mississippi. They didn't have cameras all over the place in there. They were told too, and they had safety regulations that they just were cutting corners on. Not even related to cameras being out there, but there was a list of other things that they were told that they needed to kind of abide by, and they just weren't doing that. So them not having cameras out there doesn't surprise me because they just didn't seem to care. All right, what else do we got lined up? Let's see. That was pretty much it, guys. I mean, unless you guys have stuff you want to kind of talk about, I am all ears. If you want to ask a question, that was pretty much my whole quote unquote presentation for you guys. So footprints, fingerprints, some prints were found on black plastic bags that we will never know whose there were. And that is troubling for me, especially with all the other things combined in this case that I have questions on. You know, because those things could eliminate the possibility that others were involved, and yet we don't get those answers. So that combined with the Vivint security system that has been completely sealed, that could eliminate other people in the house, you know, it just is not good for me. What's going on with Summer Wells? Any updates, Heather? I need to know if there's updates. I think cameras are more of a thing now than they were 6 years ago, too. Absolutely. And this well site was 21 years old. It was one of the furthest ones away from the ones that they usually maintained. Chris was set out there to fix a leak. You know, like it was falling apart. No doubt in my mind, it was falling apart. It needed maintenance. They were cutting corners on maintaining it probably. But think about it also. The water truck guy came in and he was doing his regular job, which is to skim off things of it in the tank, whatever the water truck guy does. We went through that live stream, and he pretty much, he doesn't work for Anadarko, but he's part of the maintenance stuff on these tanks. I think he like skims off either the oil or the water. He does something. So he was there as a scheduled maintenance performance too. So if they were going to demolish the site, I just don't think they would be doing all these things that they were doing to it. Yeah, it really is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, Florida. I agree. Thank you, Zoe. Appreciate it. Yeah, all the activity on the basement stairs, suspicious AF, especially since Tammy went all the way to Wisconsin to ask about. Right, in the dead of winter. They're flying to Wisconsin. Lots of, yeah, that has a lot to do with it too, James, I think. I don't think I worked out that morning. It was part of his explanation of, because remember Tammy says, you had a lot of movement in that basement that morning. And then I think she says, did she say to him, did you work out? But at some point, yes, he does say, I don't think I worked out that morning. Okay, no problem, Cindy. Yeah, rewatch. Very interesting stuff. I don't know the case like you guys, but my question is regarding NK telling Chris to prove that she was at the site, right? What's that about? Did she really do that, or was the reason proof? What do you guys remember about that? I don't know if she asked him to prove it. Thank you, Allison. But she had him send her pictures of like flowers out there. But we don't have any text messages of her saying, prove to me you're out there. I think people just speculated that him sending her pictures of stuff out there, the flowers. Okay, she demanded he prove it. Where is that coming from? Is that coming from Chris? Yeah, I don't remember her asking that. She definitely didn't have it in a text message that we can say. Didn't she say that in an interview? I think she said to prove that he was out there. I thought in an interview. Which interview? Yeah, I feel like it's maybe coming from Chris. I hate to say it, but we're at that point in our little research, like we're gonna have to listen to her. So very interesting theory I saw Zawoki have where he thinks that these are footprints, these like divots. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion and stuff, but I just truly don't think that those are footprints. That's just my opinion. So this, of course, is Shanann's shallow grave. Hold on, let me see if I can. Yes, I see shadowing and two of them side by side. And then there's also some on the other side as well. But I just personally, I don't think that those are an interview without the father. Okay, so there's like 3 of them. There's one with Kobach that we have on video, and then there's like multiple phone ones. Yeah, it's just not, it's not close enough to definitively say. And then it does zoom in. But still with the zooming and pictures that I have seen of this up close, I just can't say. And again, it's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to theirs. I just cannot say that those are footprints. And plus, we don't have anything in the discovery that state that there was 2 by her grave. I mean, there's 8 latent There's 8 latent prints. They didn't specify footprints, fingerprints, palm prints, but all that was taken of Watts. It was a big foot. Yeah, I've got the screenshot too, Cynthia. I just still don't think that I can definitively say that those are footprints. Makes you wonder about all these bureaus of investigations. Yeah, literally. I don't always see what people say they see. Me too, Heather. And that's the thing about perception and everyone's perspective. How much forensics were actually processed seems like nearly nothing. Well, that's the thing is I always say to people, I'm like, we don't even have like anything of forensic processing that says that Chris's DNA or fingerprints are on Shanann, Bella, or Cece. You know, I have no doubt that he's involved, but I'm just saying, like, what do we have? Was a sheet right above where Shanann was? No, hold on. Oh, no. Okay, no. I thought I X'd out of that page. Because that would have been annoying to have to refind. Okay, hold on. No, the sheet was pretty far away from Shanann. So bed sheet is the furthest thing out, like near the bottom of the page. Her grave is right like on the line of the grass in the soil. You can see it says grave and rake head. Yeah, it's right in the discovery. It's an interesting overview. No, of her saying she wanted proof. Oh, okay. The screenshot of her saying she wanted proof. Okay. Was that from, which interview was that from? Or what is the screenshot of? Do you guys think that Chris's parents knew way before about the affair? Or Chris told Ronnie on the trip from the airport. Oh, they knew. Dan, in my opinion. In fact, Cindy says something in her media interview. I think it's in my documentary. But in one of her media interviews, she said, you could just tell, you just knew, like when we went out there to visit, and it's like, when did they go and visit? Because they went to visit before they all went to North Carolina. So she said that she believed that it was started as emotional affair. So I just, and there's something that Chris says. Okay, the transcript. Okay. So she asked him to prove that he was out there. And then I'm wondering if that explains why he took pictures of flowers out there. In my opinion, she wanted to know if he was going to follow through with the explosion. Prove to me that you're out there and that you're following through with this. But again, not everybody has this theory that I have with it. But I think he was on a mission that day, and that was part of his mission. They were worried that he was going to back out of the plan, so they took the children as collateral. And then when Nicole Atkinson shows up at the house, the plan gets soiled. Witnesses had to be silenced. And that's pretty much my theory. Yeah, shadiness always, right? I think he told his parents about MK when he visited North Carolina. Yeah. Paul, remember the Lifetime movie? The tanks look different. So did MK. Remember her in the Lifetime movie, or the Lifetime movie, guys? She looked like a Victoria's Secret model. And that just was not the case. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that whole movie was just BS. I hate that my theory could be right, though, Justice A to Z. Do you think he loves those babies? I don't think he really knows or understands what love is, but I don't think he killed his kids. I think other people are involved. Just leave it at that. I feel like they knew, like referring to the Watts about the affair. They were happy about it, I'm sure. Remember, Cindy said, we thought he was finally seeing the light. Like about Shanann, like not being a good pick, etc. Like, oh, don't watch it, Cindy, if you haven't seen it. It's so, if District Attorney Rourke and NK sat down for a movie on this, that's what they came up with. And oddly enough, they changed everybody's name in the movie except Nicholkessinger and Chris Watts and Shanann, obviously, because no one can get in trouble for using those ones. But hers was kept. Yeah, it's like you see it in the videos that it appears. I just don't know if he like never really understood it, but thought that he was doing what you do when you love your kids. I don't know, but I still just don't think that. Wow, that sounds exactly like her. Oh no! So now I can do a really good NK impression and Cindy. Who are all these people, other people who signed on to help off a family? Oh, Paige Turner. There's not enough time tonight to go through it. You have to go through my playlist. The Jody one I thought was actually kind of good. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Psycho's Mimic. Hit that like button. Tomorrow night, I think we're going to do a Gypsy live stream. I need a little bit of break from the Madeline Soto case. So all these channels are coming out with these audio interviews and these video interviews. We're going to go through them. I have them all. And I'm receiving them from Criminality, who has them, and Alex Erickson, who has them. So we're going to go through them. I just kind of needed a little bit of a break from that. It's a very heavy case. I know that all cases in true crime are heavy, but plus I need a minute to kind of edit through Stephen Stearns, because it shows him completely naked, and obviously we don't want to see that. So I got to edit that this weekend. So do the NK impression. ATS never heard. Oh man, what should I say? I don't know. I need a phrase to say. I can't think of it right now. Yeah, I can't do the Madeline Soto case without vomiting. Yeah, it's rough. Oh, when she says, how about when she's like, I didn't know. I didn't know. And then when they're like, did he ever talk about blah, blah, blah with you? Never. She says that. Okay, so I removed it. Yeah. So when she's talking about deleting the text messages on her phone, I just was like really disgusted by him at that point. So I removed it. It was the lie that made me delete it. She's pregnant. Why? Guys, I can't do this all night. But yes, those Roxanne says, please stop. Okay, I will. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, we've that's the thing, is like, I hate to do it. But I think we have to listen to her like interviews again. I mean, Johnny. Yeah, we have to go through her stuff again. Okay, I'm glad I left it on an entertaining note. So tomorrow night, let's talk about another person we love to hate. Gypsy Rose. Just never do that giggle. Hi, it's me. I just wanted to see your face. Talk to you later. Bye. I don't know. I don't even remember how her voicemail went. It was something like that. There's so little. I have a hard time watching the Gypsy stuff. I know. She came out with a new YouTube video, so we're going to kind of break it down. You can watch it through me and not click on her. That's what people have also liked to do. They're like, oh, I don't want to watch her stuff, so I'll just watch you while we kind of break it down and stuff like that. But I do kind of want to pull up some statements that she had made during her testimony in Nick's trial. Of course, we're talking about Gypsy right now. I miss your face. Bye. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night. For those like Florida, although Florida, you do pop in other live streams, but I'm just saying, we do these Watts ones on Thursday nights if you're looking just for Watts. So usually we do these deep dives on Thursday for Watts case, and all the rest of the week, Monday through Friday, we cover other cases. We are going to start trickling into Wade Wilson, and we're going to do the trial, phone calls, interrogation, body cam footage. It's all going to be kind of mixed in. But the trial, in my opinion, needs to be rewatched by us. I haven't watched it. That's going to give us a lot of the facts in the Wade Wilson case. And yes, thank you guys so much. There's other cases too. So hope to see you guys at 8 o'clock, usually every night during the week. So good night, guys. Thank you for everyone who hit the thumbs up and all that, and who have donated to the baby registry. Thank you guys so much. Good night, Adrian, or maybe it's morning over there. I always forget our time difference, but you guys have a wonderful night.